We did
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you all know, let me just started this recording out of nowhere. Okay. So I'm covering South by Southwest 2026. As you all know, I am bringing you interviews with actors, directors across the board. And right now I have with me Ayden, who's the director of Summer 2000's The X-Cetra Story. It's a documentary about a bunch of young girls who made a CD and who burned a CD to be precise. And then the audio was discovered years later. It went viral. So welcome, Ayden.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. So my first question is: the documentary captures a very specific early 2000s moment. Like it was a time well before social media, and the fame was very different from what from how we see it today. So what do you think people are actually nostalgic about when they look back at 2000s? Yeah.
I think it's so interesting because, back then the internet wasn't the same thing and we didn't have TikTok. And so for our album, it was my best friends and I, we were 12. It's the summer 2000. We're writing music. We're filming videos on my handy cam, like making feature films and music videos and dances and all that stuff. And so I have all these old movies that I converted and have put into this movie, but none of it was ever to be seen by anybody. It was so unself-conscious because we weren't like, will people like this on the internet and will we get enough views and follows? Like there wasn't any of that. And so I feel it must be really hard now to create freely as a kid with the awareness that it's going to be perceived. Because you know what I mean? It just is, I didn't used to feel that. And
Yeah.
I think there is a nostalgia for a simpler time where everyone wasn't being witnessed all the time and there wasn't so much noise. And then there were, the 2000s was complicated because there was a lot of kind of toxic stuff going on as well and weird messaging.
Yes.
But there was a lot of fun. There was a lot of emphasis put on fun.
Yes.
There's pop bands and fun movies and things that I think nowadays, especially with social media, we're just bombarded with bad news and everything feels so heavy. So it's like fun to revisit a time that was a little more free.
All right. So when we think 2000s, we think Britney Spears, we think Christina Aguilera, we
Mhm.
think NSYNC. So like, were any of these artists inspirational in the way? Of course, I mean, they can't not. They were. I mean, of course, they were inspirational. I would say that, but I want to hear from you. Like, what was that one? Who was that one artist who really inspired you? Who was-
I think three, if I were to say our three main inspirations, it would be Spice Girls, Destiny's Child, Fiona Apple. It was this spread of pop, hip hop, kind of alt, we just, those three, and I feel like they're woven into our being, we just loved their stuff. But all, Britney Spears was certainly, we're loving Britney Spears. And I mean, I think about all the music at that time. I was watching TRL all the time in the top 10 on TRL, and gosh, I miss that era of music. It was so fun.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic. So I have seen, the documentary, and I think what really, struck me, like I was, like that was like the core of the documentary was when one of the, your bandmates said that, I am now, I have a tech job, and the other one said that, now I'm a content marketer. So, I mean, and what I'm trying to get at here is that there is a sense of a lost childhood in this
Yeah.
documentary. Like as we become adults, we do tend to lose that sense of wonder that we had that we had as kids, and that is reflected very well in this documentary. So, what do you think about that? Was that intentional, or is this something that just naturally came across? Yeah.
It was, yeah, it just happened because the thing about documentaries is you don't have a script and you can't plan what you're going to get. So all we could plan was getting us together and being like, we're going to try to make stuff. We're going to try to write a new song. And the experience of going to do something creative for the sake of creativity, not to sell it or for, really, it was just to experiment, even though we're like, we're not very good at this. We can do it for fun. I feel like you do that all the time as a kid. You do art projects in class and you're supposed to do all kinds of creative things. And then people become adults and they go, now I need to be serious. And they stop being creative because it's not their job. And I think that's so sad. And the experience of doing it for fun was so rejuvenating for all of us that we brought that back with us to our adult lives. And we're like, wait, we can do this whenever we want. Why have we not been doing this?
Yes. All right. So again, coming back to 2000s and how the world has changed now, it's a completely different dimension. So like, do you
Different
think,
dimension is right. That's the
yeah,
vibe.
it's entirely different dimension. So I think, how do you think fame differs now when it did back then, and also like with your music blowing up and then Rolling Stone writing an article on it, like how was that experience? So of course, how has fame changed, and what was your experience like in this
How
when
has
you went
fame
back?
how has fame changed specifically?
Yeah, and how was like what was your experience of going viral when you just found out that okay, like okay, now we've blown up. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in a way, so much is democratized now where anyone can make something and put it out there. I think when we were kids and we were making this, it was like if you weren't at a serious record label put through the corporate machine, no one's going to hear your stuff. There was no outlet for it. So that as much as I find the internet to be overwhelming and terrible most of the time, there are some beautiful things that come from the internet and
Yes.
the people rallying around something that they love, and that's the best part of the internet is stuff people love. And so this experience has been crazy because also, you know, did you make stuff as a kid ever? Did you write stuff or
I mean, I did, but it never went viral the way yours did.
right?
So maybe you all do that, right? I mean, not everybody gets that virality, but when you get it, I mean, it's just like you feel vindicated almost, don't you?
Right. And everybody makes stuff. And that's the thing. It's not that we were, so different from anybody else, but everybody makes stuff. And then imagine 20 years later, people finding it. There was, to be honest, when we first discovered that it was online and that anybody had heard it, I did feel embarrassed still. I felt like a teenager again, where I was like, no, oh no, like I'm not a good singer and I don't want people to hear that. That's so embarrassing. And it's
Yeah.
been this kind of beautiful thing that people are so supportive of it and loving towards it. I know not everybody loves it, so I'm sure we're gonna get some not nice things said about us, and we'll have to deal with that. But it's blowing my mind that anybody cares about it. And so this type of fame and attention has been purely positive, but I do not think that's always the case with the internet and that kind of fame. It's a scary place.
Yeah. Okay. So one last question. Years later, when all of you and your bandmates look back at this time, of course, your childhood, and of course, so now with the documentary releasing and people discovering your viral moment, do you think you will remember this as, one of the best times of your life, or will this be the beginning of, will this be like the inflection point where everything just changed for the better? Yeah.
I think it's the beginning. I really think it's the beginning because every step of the way with this album leads to a new door. It's like Alice in Wonderland. We go down a new tunnel and some new thing is happening. And so the album being discovered was crazy. The album being signed by a label, crazy. Being sampled by real musicians, crazy. Rolling Stone, the doc, us premiering at South by Southwest with the documentary that I made with my friends with no formal financing or production
Yes.
company. We made it. My partner, Barry Rothbart, my producing partner, he's also a writer, actor, director, and we were having a strike, the SAG strike, and no one was working. And he was like, let's just make it ourselves. Like, you could direct it. And I was like,
Yes.
I guess I could. And then we bought an FX3 camera and we just started making it ourselves. And so that was so exciting. Like, you can really do anything if you decide to do
If
it,
you really,
truly. And then who knows? Because now I'm working on a scripted version of a movie about this story that will be a little different, and that's the next stage. But it's just the beginning, it feels like.
all right. That's it. Thank you so much, Ayden. I hope the documentary is received well. I'm sure it's being received well, right? And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for talking to me. I appreciate you watching it and being so supportive. It's really nice.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
All right.